Hello everyone. In this video, we'll look at the family tree from the Indian epic Ramayana. For this video, I've picked the images of the actors who played the roles from the 1987 Doordarshan Ramayana series. We'll begin with Ishwaku, the founder of the Solar dynasty or the Surya Vamsha. The other important king in this dynasty is Raghu. Asterisk indicates multiple generations. Dashrath was the descendant of Raghu. Dashrath was the son of Aja and Indumati. He acquired the name Dashrath as his chariot could move in 10 directions. He had three wives, Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. Kaushalya was from the kingdom of Magad, Sumitra was from Kashi, Kaikeyi was from Kaikeya kingdom. Dashrath performed a yagna to beget children. Agni or fire god sprang out from the sacrificial fire pit and handed Dashrath a pot of kheer or payasa sweet, advising him to distribute it among his queens. Kaushalya ate half, Kaikeyi ate quarter. Kaushalya and Kaikeyi passed the pot back to Sumitra, who consumed the kheer for the second time. Thus the queens conceived after the consumption of the kheer. Since Kaushalya had consumed the largest portion, she gave birth to Lord Ram. Lord Ram is the seventh incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Ram was born on the ninth day of the lunar month Chaitra, a day celebrated across India as Ram Navami. Kaikeyi gave birth to Bharat. Sumitra, who had consumed the kheer twice, gave birth to Lakshman and Shatrughan. The part Sumitra took from Kaushalya resulted in the birth of Lakshman, who grew close to Ram. Similarly, Kaikeyi's share resulted in Shatrughan's birth, who was close to Bharat. Dashrath had once mistakenly killed the boy Shravan, thinking he had heard the sound of an elephant. When he approached the blind boy's blind parents, they cursed him that he would suffer the same fate, dying being separated from his beloved son, which is what eventually happened with him. King Nimi was the first ruler of Videha. Mithi was a descendant of Nimi, and the kingdom also became known as Mithila. King Janak was the descendant of Nimi and Mithi. He had a brother, Kushadwaja. Janak married Sunaina, and Kushadwaja married Chandrabhaga. Sita is said to have been discovered in a furrow in a ploughed field, and for that reason is regarded as the daughter of Bhumi Devi, the goddess Earth. She was adopted and brought up by Janaka. Urmila was the biological daughter of Janaka and Sunaina. Sita introduces Ram brothers to her sister Urmila and her two cousins Mandavi and Shrutukarti. Ram marries Sita by winning an archery contest organized by King Janak by lifting the bow of Lord Shiva, the Pinaka, and fastens the string taut and breaks the bow in the process. Due to the closeness of Lakshman with Ram, Lakshman married Urmila, Sita's sister. Bharat married Mandavi, and Shatrughan married Shrutukarti. Ram was in line to become the king of Ayodhya. Queen Kaikeyi, influenced by her maid Mantra, wanted her son Bharat to become the king. She reminded King Dashrath of the two wishes he had offered to her when she had saved his life in a battle. For her first boon, she asked for the exile or vanavas of Ram for 14 years. Her second wish was to make her son Bharat, the second in line to throne, the heir apparent. Since the clan of Raghu was known for keeping their word, Dashrath had no choice but to adhere to her wishes. Ram went to exile with his wife Sita and younger brother Lakshman. Bharat, on hearing the news, became angry with his mother Kaikeyi and asked for Ram's sandals. He then placed the footwear on the royal seat of Ayodhya, thus laying clear the fact that Ram was the de facto ruler of Ayodhya and Bharat would only rule in his stead for the time he wasn't there. Moving on to the kingdom of Lanka, Ravan was the king of Lanka. Ravan was born to sage Vishrava and his wife Kekeshi. Ravan's brothers were Kumbhakarna and Vibhishan. His sister was Shurpanakha. Ravan and his brothers performed penance. and Ravan was blessed with a boon that would make him invincible to the creation of Brahma, except for humans. Ravan later usurped Lanka from his half-brother Kubera and became the king of Lanka. Ravan was married to Mandodari, the daughter of the celestial architect Maya. Their eldest son was Indrajit or Meghnad. Indrajit is regarded as one of the greatest warriors. He became the possessor of three devastating celestial weapons: Brahmanand Astra, Brahmastra, and Vaishnavastra. During Ram's 14-year exile, Lakshman cuts off Ravana's sister Shurpanaka's nose in anger when she tries to seduce Ram, then Lakshman, and insults Sita. Ravan wants to avenge the insult of his sister and also hears about Sita's beauty. So he decides to kidnap Sita. Ravan kidnaps Sita, disguising himself as a beggar, while Ram was away fetching a golden deer, which was Demon Marich in a disguised form. Ravan took her back to his kingdom in Lanka, and Sita was held as a prisoner in one of his palaces. During her captivity, Ravan expressed his desire for her. However, Sita refused his advances. Ram, on his way to Lanka, finds Sita's jewels in kingdom Kishkinda. Bali or Vali and Sukri are born to Rishikraj through boons from Lord Indra and Lord Surya respectively. Bali is the king of Kishkinda and Sugriv, his brother, supports him. Lord Hanuman is the minister of kingdom Kishkinda and is a good friend of Sugriv. Hanuman was born to Anjana and father Kesari with Vayu or wind god as his celestial father. Vali is married to Tara and Sugriv is married to Ruma, Tara's sister. Vali and Tara have a son, Angad. One day, a raging demon challenged Vali to a fight. The demon fled in terror into a cave. Vali entered the cave in pursuit of the demon, telling Sugriv to wait outside. When Vali did not return, and on seeing blood oozing from the cave, Sugriv concluded that his brother had been killed. With a heavy heart, Sugriv rolled a boulder to seal the cave's opening to prevent the demon from exiting. He returned to Kishkinda and declared himself as king. Vali, however, ultimately prevailed in his combat with the demon and returned home. Seeing Sugriv acting as king, he concluded that his brother had betrayed him. As a result, Sugriv was ostracized from the kingdom. Vali forcibly took Sugriv's wife Ruma, and the brothers became bitter enemies. Ram promises Sugriv to kill Vali for taking away Sugriv's wife. In return, Sugriv promises to help Ram fight Ravan in Lanka. Ram shoots an arrow at Bali and kills him while Bali and Sugriv are engaged in a duel, thereby returning Ruma and the kingdom of Kishkinda to Sugriv. Bali's son, Angad, became the crown prince. Ram and Lakshman, Hanuman, Sugriv, Angad, along with Sugriv's army, march to Lanka and defeat Ravan. Ram kills Ravan and frees Sita. Ram crowned Vibhishan as the king of Lanka and he returned to Ayodhya. Ram is reinstated as the king of Ayodhya. It became evident that the citizens of Ayodhya could not accept Sita's long captivity under Ravan. Sita, upon hearing about this incident, knew that it would bring disgrace to the entire clan and hence decided to go and live in the forest. Thus Sita was forced into exile a second time. Sita, who was pregnant, was given refuge in the hermitage of Valmiki, where she delivered her twin sons, Lav and Kush. Lakshman and Urmila have two children, Angada and Chandraketu. Shatrughan and Shrutakarti have two children, Shatrugati and Subahu. Bharat and Mandavi have two children, Pushkala and Taksha. Sita raised her sons, Lav and Kush, alone as a single mother. They grew up to be valiant and intelligent and were eventually united with their father. Once she had witnessed the acceptance of her children by Ram, Sita sought final refuge in the arms of her mother Bhumi. Hearing her plea for release from an unjust world and from a life that had been rarely happy, the earth dramatically split open. Bhumi appeared and took Sita away. A sage visited Ram to remind him that the objective of his appearance on earth was complete and it was time for him to return to Vaikunta. While Lakshman was keeping a watch, the short-tempered sage Durvasa approached him and demanded entry. He was furious when he was stopped. He threatened that he will lay a terrible curse of destruction on Ayodhya and its inhabitants and on the entire Raghu clan. Lakshman was in a fix because if he interrupted, he had to end his life. Lakshman weighed the pros and cons. He concluded that his death would indeed be a lesser calamity than the entire population of Ayodhya being destroyed. So he admitted Durvasa and received the punishment gladly. He then walked into the Sarayu river and took the form of Ananta Sesha. Sri Ram, who came to know about the death of Lakshman, decided that it was time to end his avatar. He then handed over his responsibilities to his sons Lav and Kush and bid adieu to all. Lord Ram walked deep into the Sarayu river and thus disappeared from earth. Thank you for watching. You may check out my other videos about the family tree of Mahabharat and Kurukshetra.